Hi everyone, it's Kylie from Paint Wing. In today's video, I'll be demonstrating how to paint a cow with watercolors. I'll have the material list and reference image in the video description. Once you get a sketch drawn, let's get started painting. We're going to start off by painting the eye of the cow using a small round brush and raw umber paint. If you don't have this exact paint color, just find something similar. I'm adding this wet paint to dry paper. I will then use a slightly larger round brush dipped into water to blend out the pigment. I'm going back and forth to paint each eye. Make sure to leave 2 white dots in each eye for the highlights. Now I'm moving to Payne's gray. I'm adding a curved line for the pupil. Make sure your eye is lighter in value towards the bottom part of the eye. This will help make things appear more realistic. Use a saturation of Payne's gray to add details around the eye. Now add some eyelashes. We'll continue working on the eyes in a little bit. We just want that paint to dry, so while it's drying, let's get started on the nose. The cow in the reference image has a black or brown nose, but I think I'm going to paint mine pink with spots. I'm going to start off by adding a medium consistency wash to the nose with the number 6 round brush. As for the paint color, I'm using rose Dore, but you can use a different color if you don't have this color. To help spread the color out, I'm going to dip my brush into water and sprout the pigment. Now I'm going to add more pigment. I'm just dabbing that into the wet wash. Around the outer edge of the nose, I'm adding yellow ochre paint. On this side, let's add some Payne's gray to the outer edge. And I'll dab some of the gray into the wash as well. Now let's allow this to fully dry. You can either allow it to air dry, or you can use a hair dryer to speed up the process. Next, we'll be filling in the black spots on the cow. Start off with a medium round brush and gray paint. I'm just outlining the spot here. For the spots, you could just use Payne's gray, or you can use a variety of dark colors to add more interest to your black. For example, you can mix in some raw umber or even some blue. So fill in this side of the face, and then move on to the other side. I'm starting with gray, and then I'll add raw umber. Be careful painting on the eye. Now continue using the same colors to fill in the ear. We'll be layering darker values on top of this layer after things dry. When the wash on the ears is still wet, dip a small brown brush into gray paint and create some hairs on the edge of the ears. I had to rotate my paper to paint this easier. That's why things appear upside down. Next, let's add some shadows and spots under the cow's head. Use gray paint for this process. You can also add in some brown if you'd like to warm up the colors. For the shadows down here, let's switch to yellow ochre. This will be a little bit more subtle. We're just painting the general form of the cow's body. I want things to appear a little abstracted and loose. I'm adding yellow ochre to the sides here. And now let's add the general shape of a leg coming down. And a few paint splatters. Next, we'll add some shadows to the top of the cow's head. For the shadow, start with a very dilute wash of yellow ochre. Use quite a bit of water in order to get it light. And then at the top of the cow's head, add raw umber to make things a little darker. Next, you'll create some hairs on top of the cow's head. Use a dark color, such as Payne's Gray, to paint out small hairs with a small round brush. This cow has some horns on it, so if your cow has horns, let's paint those in. Start with the lightest color. That here is the diluted wash of raw umber. Add quite a bit of water until your brown paint appears fairly light. For a shadow, dab in Payne's Gray. Next, repeat this process on the other side. Leave some weight of the paper showing for a highlight. While that dries, let's go add some details to the cow's face. Use a small brown brush to define this area with a saturation of gray paint. Next, add a layer of gray to the ear here to create a shadow and add definition to the ear. Also add some fur marks inside the ear. Now repeat these steps on the other side of the cow. Around the horn, you can add some gray hairs as well. The horn should be dry when you add these hairs. Now let's move to the nose again. Create a thin line of gray above and below the nose. To increase the shadows here, add a few marks where the cow skin folds. For the nostrils, use a saturated amount of pink paint. Mine is Rose Dore. Next, add some more spots to the cow's bodies. I'm adding spots with a large round brush. Now for the nostrils, we'll add a mixture of pink and gray. About 75% pink and 25% gray. Add that to the inside of the nostrils. Around the nose, add a thin diluted layer of Rose Dore. This next part is optional, but if you want to add spots to your cow's nose, you can add them with gray or brown paint. You can add them to wet or dry paper. By adding them to dry paper, the edges will appear crisp and sharp. If you add them to wet paper, the spots will appear softer. Now I'm going to add white whiskers around the cow's nose and mouth. You can use either white gouache or paint, gel pen, or you could even use white opaque ink like I am. Add thin, delicate hairs. Take your time with these. Now our cow is almost complete. We just need to add a few small details. I'm going to add an impressionistic leg on the cow. I'm going to make it appear further back in the image by not adding too much detail to it. And a few extra marks on the cow. And then this piece is complete. Thank you so much for watching. Have a rest of your day. Bye now.